him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-McGobbin, is time for the only news that matters. And rock and roll comedian Dean Del Rey, a huge AC/DC fan, who has covered the legendary rock act song with a tribute band and who has interviewed members of AC/DC in the past. He says that the bassist Cliff Williams will not tour with AC/DC later this year. Cliff announced his retirement at the end of the AC/DC 2015 and 2016 Rocker Bus Tour, which also saw vocalist Brian Johnson leaving because of hearing problems. He was replaced for the last 22 shows by Guns N' Roses singer Axl Rose, and damn, am I lucky I saw one of those 22 shows. However, Williams and Johnson took part in the recording sessions that resulted in AC/DC's 2020 album Power Up, an awesome album, I must add. Both of them were also part of the AC/DC lineup that performed at the band's first concert in more than 7 years, which took place last October at the Power Trip Festival in Indio, California. And boy, that wasn't a good performance, man. It was kind of heartbreaking, if you ask me, watching that. And I'm not just talking about Brian Johnson. I don't know. Maybe it was the cell phone. Who knows? A crappy cell phone. But all I know, it was pretty bad. So on January 27th, Del Rey took to his social media to write, "Okay, last night I heard from a very reliable source that AC/DC will be touring with a new bass player this year. And I'm not going to say who it is. I'll let AC/DC make the announcement, but I will say this. 3 years ago, I had Cliff Williams on my podcast, and he straight up said he would not be touring again and was surprised that the fans didn't seem to pick up on that." Dean added, "I just want to take the time to thank Cliff for absolutely rocking us on the bass for over 40 years, an absolute killer of groove." Dean did ask Cliff that, was it because of Johnson's departure from the road was what led to his decision to stop touring? And Cliff said, "It was before then. I spoke to Angus about it initially. I was at a point, and this is at the beginning of the Rocker Bus Tour, that I just felt, for me, it was time to hang it up. I knew that I didn't want to keep doing these 2-year tours. I didn't want to hold them back, so I made them aware of the fact that this was going to be my last go-around. It was a tough tour to finish. God bless Axl for coming in and helping us out and finishing it up. He did a great job. And at the end of that, I was definitely, that was it for me. You know, I was done, just done. And that compounded the whole thing. But, you know, he came back and he did the album. A great album, by the way. Right in the middle of the whole pandemic and we're all locked down. AC/DC threw us a kick-ass, I mean kick-ass hard rockin' album, man. And it was cool that Cliff Williams came back. And you also had the great Phil Rudd on that album. And, yeah, I think that album absolutely rules. And it's cool that Cliff came back and did one last show with them, with Brian Johnson. You know, to end it with Brian, I mean, to end it with Axl, which is awesome, by the way. I got to see that show, and I have no complaints. I said Axl did an amazing job, and pretty much everybody I know that's seen that show said the same thing. But, and those that saw it and said that it was horrible, well, hey, we have opposite opinions. But, you know, it was cool that, Axl helped out, and it was cool that Cliff was there, and we all knew Cliff was going to leave. This was his final tour. Everybody did know it. I remember they played the last show with Cliff back then on that tour where Angus actually grabbed him and took him all the way to the front of the stage. Something he's never done before, goodbye to my good friend Cliff Williams, man, who's been there. He has been steady bass player, awesome dude, and I'm gonna miss him, man. But AC/DC, we don't have Malcolm anymore, or Phil Rudd is not there. And it's like, I can understand, Bon, he died, and Malcolm died too. But I think it's a different situation with Malcolm since he's been there so long. I mean, he actually formed the band, that, way before Bon was ever, and they had a singer before Bon, so, and he's the mastermind, and, it just seems so, oh man, no Malcolm, this kills me. Then no Phil Rudd, and it's kind of like with Cliff Williams leaving, it's like, yeah, you might as well, you might as well leave because, geez, it's only Angus now, right? But anyway, Cliff Williams rules. I love all the albums that Cliff did with AC/DC, and I'm going to rank them all. Yes, I am. No, I'm not going to talk about, the Dave Evans stuff or Mark Evans with Let There Be Rock and High Voltage, TNT, Dirty Deeds. No, that's not on the list. Only Cliff Williams albums, and there are 13. So here we go. At number 13, I don't like this album. This is my least favorite AC/DC album. I only like one song off it. Fire Your Guns. I'm talking about Razor's Edge. Not a fan. No way, man. I hate Thunderstruck. I just hate that album. It breaks my heart. And number 13, I don't hate it. It's got some good tracks on it. And I know a lot of you would put it higher on the list. I'm going with Fly on the Wall, man. I do love Sink the Pink and Shake Your Foundation, Playing with Girls, and I think that's about it. So that's why it's kind of low, but it's not as bad as Razor's Edge, that's for sure. All right, number 11. Like it a little more, Stiff Upper Lip. It's a good rocking album, man. I have no complaints about it. I mean, yeah, there are some fillers, and it is a little too long, but not as long as number 10, which I put above Stiff Upper Lip. Black Ice. That album is just way too long. A handful of... there's a strong album in there if you, cut the fat. But Black Ice is at number 10. All right, number 9. A lot of you would put it lower, I'm sure. Blow Up Your Video. I love Blow Up Your Video. This Means War. Nick of Time. That's the way I want my rock and roll. Heat Seeker, and that's about all I like on that album. But still, it made it all the way up there. I love This Is War. That song just absolutely rips. All right, at number 8, Ball Breaker. Yeah, this was a much welcomed album after Razor's Edge for me. It's pretty good. Rick Rubin did it. It's a pretty good hard rocking album, man. I put it above everything I just talked about easily. All right, number 7, their last album, Power Up. I know a lot of you would put it higher, but I think it's a solid album. Now, from here on out, these are albums I freaking love because really, Power Up doesn't have anything bad on it, in my opinion. And I think all the other all the other albums are the same. So Power Up. And number 6. Rock or Bust. Yes, Rock or Bust. That one would be at the very bottom. Boy, you know who hates that album is Martin Popoff. Boy, he goes off on that album. I love it though, man. I just think it's awesome. Rock the Blues Away. Rock the House. Everything's rock on it. Rock or Bust. I love it. Rock and Roll Thunder. It's a great album, man. I know a lot of you don't think it, but I do. And I'm happy to say I have it on vinyl. It's very expensive now. All right, at number 5. And number 5, let me tell you, this is how much I love Rock or Bust. Because Rock or Bust no album that they've done since my number 5 has been as good as Rock or Bust, and that is Flick of the Switch. Yes, a lot of people would put Flick of the Switch as the best Brian album because, you know, Back in Black sold so much. But, you know, if it was the other way around, that Flick of the Switch sold so much and Back in Black didn't, all you people that love Flick more would be loving Back in Black more. Who are we bullshitting here, man? But Flick of the Switch is awesome, you know. Guns for Hire, deep in the hole. Title track, Nervous Breakdown, great song. All right, that is number 5. Number 4, For Those About to Rock. This album rules. I think the last couple songs aren't really, you know, it's kind of like filler to me, but hey, man, Will Carroll from Death Angels thinks that is the greatest AC/DC song ever. Oh, I forgot. It's one of the last songs on the album. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. Breaking the Rules, that's the one. Anyway, I think everything before Breaking the Rules is awesome. All right, at number 3, well, you could say I'm kind of like a contrarian too to put Back in Black in number 3 since it sold the most. You know, but I can't do it. I think there's 2 better than that, but I still love Back in Black. I think it's the best album with Brian Johnson, hands down. I mean, if you think different, that's cool. But let's not debate that, okay? You stick with that opinion. Back in Black is hands down the greatest album AC/DC did with Brian Johnson. All right, number 2, the last album with Bon Scott, Highway to Hell, man. Love this album, which contains my favorite AC/DC song, Touch Too Much. But man, the whole album, man. Beating Around the Bush, Girls Got Rhythm, Walk All Over You, If You Want Blood, Get It Hot, Night Prowler, Shot Down in Flames. My God, what a great album. All right. And that leaves us with number 1, Power Age, man, which is my overall favorite AC/DC album. And yeah, that is my ranking of AC/DC albums. Hey, if you want to leave yours down there, or just tell me what's your top couple of them. You don't have to give them all to me, but it'd be cool if you did. And I would really appreciate it. And I also appreciate all of you that watch The Only News That Matters. I do appreciate you. I hope you are subscribed to my channel. If not, please subscribe to my channel and ring that little notification bell. And leave your comments below. Please do that. Oh, and like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.